What's going on, everyone? My name's Mark, and this is Mako Thrift. Now, I sell part-time on eBay. I go out to local thrift stores like Goodwill, other areas, other places in my area, buy things for cheap, resell them for higher on eBay, pocket the difference, a nice little side hustle for me and my family. So in today's episode, I'm going to be showing a lot of items that I've bought through May. This is part 3 in a series I've been doing where I'm showing what I got in the month of May. Takes me usually a few weeks to, a month or two to get something up. And that's really just because sometimes it's hectic. In May, I was I was on vacation. So I'm going to start today with a couple things that I think a lot of people pass up in the thrift shop, Goodwill retail, and also the bins. I see a lot of people passing these up, and these are blazers. It's easy stuff to find to make a little bit of money, and if you learn the very good brands, you can make quite a bit with this. Now, my Goodwill here, I'm in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. It charges $5.99 a blazer. If you're in North Carolina, you got to pay tax. If you're in South Carolina, one of the Goodwills down there, there's no tax on the Goodwills. So let's go ahead, no tax on the item. So let's go ahead and look at the first one here. This is a Joseph A. Bank blazer. What is special about this item is that it's 100% camel hair, and it's very easy to feel something like this. You go into the thrift store, you go to the blazer section, you can go by. I can always spot what camel hair looks like. Something like this, I bought it for $5.99. I expect this to go between $35 to $45. So a nice little profit there. Now, a lot of people don't, I think, like to sell blazers because they're kind of not set up to do it. And they sell, and a lot of people think or say that they take a while to sell, which does have some truth to it. But from my experience, if you are listing it well and you are pricing a little bit under market, it really isn't going to take too long to sell. Now, that said, you don't want to go out and just buy any type of blazer. If you go out and buy like a wool blazer from a non-brand, it's going to sit forever. I got a couple of those that are personal items I've had on my eBay store forever. Oh man, I just can't get rid of them. So if you do buy a blazer, needs to have something special with it. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. So camel hair, definitely a yes. Even if it's not the greatest brand, it's going to really help it out. Joseph A. Bank is not the greatest, but some of their blazers do sell for good money. Okay, next up is another camel hair blazer. So this is Evan Picone for Belk. I'm not going to talk too much about this because I just talked about camel hair for a while, but this looks like a pretty good size, 100%, and something like this might not go for as much as Joseph A. Bank because maybe not as many people are looking for it. I would expect this will sell in the fall or the winter. It may take a little while because of the color and because camel hair is a winter fabric. So hopefully it goes for between, 35 to 40, I think. No problem. This here is a Brooks Brothers blazer. Now, Brooks Brothers, very popular. I have to say, this one, it's got a little bit of this kind of faint stripe, if you can see it or not. And I avoid buying pinstripe blazers because, a lot of men just don't wear them, with khakis, or I don't really see them. But this one here, it's so faint that I think it'll be okay. Brooks Brothers, 1818, makers and merchants. I think that this was like a $50, $60 blazer. Hopefully it goes for around that amount. But people are always looking for this stuff. This might be a tall too. Probably, borderline. We'll have to kind of measure it out. All right, so blazers, couple things to know. Look for something special. You want to look for those name brands like Polo, Ralph Lauren. You want to look for Brooks Brothers, so kind of the big ones there. And then if you don't know anything about blazers, look for fabric. Look for cotton blazers like seersucker. I've sold a bunch of those the last month or two. Also look for, linen. Linen's obviously great, especially this time of year. I would buy it even in the winter time because it just flies out of my store. Now, one other thing I'll point out is there are some blazers that are worth a ton of money, 100 bucks, 150. So if you don't know anything and you don't want to learn anything, what I would say in general is look for made in Italy. If something's made in Italy, you want to be looking it up. It probably has value, not all the time, but you can really find some very valuable things. And there's some other things you want to know too, like you want to look and see if there's Laura Piana, a special type of wool. But that type of stuff, just knowing some basic things, I think can really make you some good money, great money in the thrift store, just because so many people pass over blazers. It really shocks me how many people just don't want to deal with them. I guess they don't want to list them or whatever. So let's get into the thrift haul here. And all these items I have bought out, I bought at either retail Goodwill in my area or the Goodwill bins. And I live in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. There's basically two Goodwill bins in my area. There's Rock Hill, South Carolina. There's the Charlotte one. And then retail Goodwill, they're everywhere in this area. So I kind of rotate between both places, go to both. But first thing I got, these are Bonobos pants. I got these at Goodwill, I believe, about 2 weeks ago, $4.99, 38 by 32, and these are cotton linen blend. So a nice plaid thing here, plaid design. And I imagine these will go for somewhere between 25 to 30. It's the time of year for something like this. This would go really nice with like a white dress shirt, even a white polo. Bonobos pants do pretty well. All right, so here we've got a pair of Polo by Ralph Lauren pants. They are pink or salmon colored. I guess you could say that as well, or maybe even red. No, they look kind of pink colored. Now they do look vintage to me, possibly. But these, I think, will probably go for like $22 to $27. I paid $4.99 for them. 38.34 inseam. That's a great inseam to have for this. If it actually measures out at 34, then I'm going to list it quite a bit higher. But sometimes with these pants, my experience has been you get it out, you list it, and it's just shocking to see how much that has kind of shrunk down. Of course, it is cotton. Cotton shrinks, so that's what we should expect it to do. This is another pickup. I believe I got this at retail Goodwill. So $4.99, George Washington basketball. And I think this was like 2000. Oh, Nike Golf. That's nice. And NCAA Sweet 16. Hopefully that adds a little bit of value there, because George Washington, doesn't make it to the tournament that often, right? I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of basketball lately, but I think that has some pretty good value. Sweet 16, something someone's going to want to wear. Another pair of Polo Ralph Lauren Andrew pants. Paid $4.99 for these. Now, I went to the Goodwill. I think I mentioned this in my last video. I went to a Goodwill in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, and I found just a bunch of these Polo Ralph Lauren pants. $4.99. I just decided I'd pick them up. There was like 8 pairs. It'll be very easy to list all those out. I think those will sell probably between 22 to 27, maybe a little bit lower, because those beige ones, it's getting pretty saturated out there. Let's see what we got here. All right, that's another pair of Polo Ralph Lauren. Not going to talk about those. This was a bins find, so I'll show the back in just a second. 2024 SEC Tournament Champions, Auburn. Really cool kind of back hit here. Nice sweatshirt. Looks like a men's medium, men's large, possibly. I would think something like this will go for about 18, around that range. Be awesome if it went a little bit higher, but I don't know. It's just kind of a gut sell. Okay, Nike Dry Fit. This is a nice little golf shirt. Nothing too special. $15. It's an XL, so that's not gonna, nothing crazy there. Got this at the bins. Probably paid about $1 for it. It's one of those items that'll get you like, $14 profit And I don't promote almost anything unless it's like a non-name brand that people have just never heard of and the style's really cool. Otherwise, you're just kind of eating into your profits, in my opinion. Okay, so this was a really cool find. Well, not really cool, but you know, it's going to have some value. So this is a very heavy Columbia jacket. I don't know the model. It's a good size. It's not, you know, something tiny. The tag says 2XL. Looks like it's got a hood coming out here, I'm guessing. Yes, that's nice. And I think this actually might even be like vintage, but I'll have to check on this exact model. I would think this would go for around $50. I got this at Goodwill, $6.99. So, you know, when winter comes, someone's going to come along. Someone's going to want this jacket. It's nice. All right, another find here from the Goodwill bins. And this is a Cabela's outdoor gear. Let's see. Premium Northern Goose Down. Goose Down's very nice, even in the not so popular brands. This is also a, let's see, what size is it here? Looks like a large. Okay, so not as great as I thought or hoped for. But this is great for any guy who wants to go out, wants to go fly fishing or maybe hunting or something. This has fishing written all over it. Someone will buy this $30 to $40. It's kind of a wide range there, but definitely I don't see it going lower than 30. It might take a little while to sell. Okay, seersucker. Love seersucker. Flies off my shelves in my store. These are Nautica pants, and I just recently sold. Well, let me finish this and then I'll tell the next story. So these are Nautica women's, size 14, 100% cotton, $20, 22. Got these at the bins, probably paid $1. These are like 8 ounces. My bins are $2 a pound. So yeah, somewhere around $20, $22. And I sold a Nautica jacket, Nautica blazer recently. Found that at the bins as well. This seersucker stuff this time of year, it doesn't matter. The brand can be crap and people will still buy it. So the Nautica one, actually the person ended up returning it, said it didn't fit, so I'm sure it'll sell right again. All right, so here we've got a pair of J. Crew stretch pants. Got this at the Goodwill bins, probably paid around $2 for it. Feel about like they're close to a pound. And I think these will probably go for $18 to $22, somewhere around there. It's possible they could be less, but these, you know, these feel like really nice golf pants, very lightweight. And there is some of that, you know, J. Crew, Eddie Bauer type stuff, that Gap type stuff that can sell pretty well if you find the right model, the right style and things. It goes at the right time of year, right size. And I think that is something that'll go for a little bit more than I expect. All right, so we have got a pair of Nike Dry Fit running shorts. These are men's. Got these at the bins. They're probably about $1. And I'm not going to be picking these up anymore. I've picked up like 1 or 2 pairs, and they obviously don't cost really anything, but it's just the market is too flooded, and at this point, they don't really sell that great compared to other Nike stuff, and the average sale price is probably around $12, so the money's just not really there for these. So this is probably going to be the last. Now, track pants, other things like that, I'm going to keep getting, but shorts, no. All right, this was a Goodwill bins find, a nice Dickies chore jacket here, and it's probably cost about $5, which, you know, it weighs probably around 2.5 pounds. This is nice and heavy. I think that let's see if it's got a removable liner here. No, it doesn't. But it's hooded. It's got a lot going for it in terms of outdoor wear. And I think something like this will go for probably around $35, cost about $5. Possibly more, possibly a little bit more. Nothing crazy. It's Dickies, but it's a nice jacket. I actually could end up keeping this for myself, possibly, but it doesn't really get that cold here in Charlotte. So, yeah, I do like this item. And seems like a lot of people passed it up, but we'll see. All right, so this here is a Nike sweatpants. Got this at the bins. Paid about $1 or $2, and these will probably go for like $15 to $18. Not great. So Zero Restriction golf outerwear. Thought this was going to be a lot better. Got this at the Goodwill bins, and this is probably $20. I thought it was going to be closer to 30. It is, it is nice. It's got Gore-Tex. That's going to help. So, yeah, maybe when I looked it up originally, I didn't put the Gore-Tex keyword in there, but with that in there, I'm thinking that that's going to help it up to that 30 range, possibly more. I mean, it is a nice golfing vest, so we'll see. Well, this was a nice find here. Found this at the bins. Arc'teryx, and everyone I'm sure knows about this brand. Very good brand. Washed it, still looks very linty, so I'll probably have to roll it here. This looks like a women's small. Am I right here? Women's medium. I'm imagining this will go for at least 30. It's a very sought after brand, although I'm not too familiar how it does with women. Auburn Tigers Under Armour men's full zip track jackets. Something like this, medium, probably goes for around $22, $25. And got this at the bin, so probably paid about $2 for it. So shouldn't have any issues with that. All right, Polo Ralph Lauren pants. Nice cream white color. And we got a size of 36-30. So these look really small. I'm guessing this is more about 33, 34. And probably the inseams shrunk quite a bit too. That's a shame, but especially when I paid $4.99 for them, these might only go from 18 to 22, but we will see. All right, Peter Millar Summer Comfort. And I need to look up this. I think I got it because of this thing right here. I can't remember what this emblem is. I think it's a company. But this stuff, when you find Nike, when you find Peter Millar, and it's got this, it's got a company or it's got some sort of organization, that stuff usually goes between $23, $24 to $26. I sold recently a Nike polo, Ernst & Young, the accounting firm, $26. So I would expect something like this, nice and lightweight, XL. Hopefully this isn't some super obscure or out of business company, but I think I could just look at it, look it up, get that logo, and figure out what it is and how much it goes for. All right, so here we have got some Nike Dry Fit, nice little golf pants here. I love buying pants. I probably got these for $4.99. Good size, 34-34. We'll see if it holds up. We'll see if it actually is 34-34. But if it is, then I'm thinking 25 to 30 for this. Nice and lightweight. All right, got some corduroys here. This is a brand that probably a lot of you are not familiar with. This is Fieldmaster. Now, this is not some BOGO brand or something you have to be on the lookout for. This is a brand I did find. I did find these at the Goodwill bins, and probably 2 or 3 months ago, I found something similar, like a outdoorsy type brand. Really had been passed over a lot. These, I can't remember the name of that brand, but ended up, anyhow, they were very heavy, like field pants, and I took them and sold them for about $50 on eBay. So it was a really nice flip, paying just $4 or $5 and just flipping those. These here, the Fieldmaster, the 3429. One of the issues might be that no one's really looking for these, but I will try it out. I will see how they go. They look vintage, so that should help as well. And hopefully I can move these, and we'll see. All right, another Brooks Brothers shirt, XXL. Nice little plaid. Hopefully goes for between 18 to 20. Got this at the bins for about $2, and we'll see. Brooks Brothers seems to do a lot better for me with like the solid colors. If you go with like a all white, nice size. If you go with an all blue, if you get a tuxedo shirt, those do really well. And you can find the new with tag ones as well. Dress shirts are not my favorite thing to sell. I do see a lot of people passing them over, so I do buy them, and I know, the different brand, the pretty good brands. I don't really think there's a lot of like high class ones. Well, I'm sure there are high class ones, but there's not like, you're not finding those all the time. So for the most part, I'm just getting like, the ones I know, and I'm getting the ones that are, new with tags. Those new with tags ones always do good. All right. Polo by Ralph Lauren, Hammond pants, all white, or white. And these should be an easy list for me. And we've got a size here, 36-30, $4.99. I got these at Goodwill, and let's hope to get about 22, somewhere around that range for these. We'll see. All right, this is the last item here. This is a pair of refugee denim flare high-rise pants. And these look not that high, or the woman who buys these is probably going to be pretty short. So I don't know a ton about this, but I must have looked this up, and we will see how this does. I would think it would go between 15 to 20 bucks. I don't know enough about this brand to really recommend it, to say yay or nay, but we'll see how it does. I appreciate everyone coming out. If you're still here and still watching the video, I plan on making more as I pick up stuff, as I sell stuff. I'll have different things. Comment, let me know if there's anything you want to see specifically, and have a good weekend or a good week.